Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chatter Squadron, your weekly dose of Star Wars fun and villainy. I don't know why I'm holding my hands like this. My name is Tyler Bucks.
And my name is Logan Honsaker. What is up, you rebel scum?
Well, we are talking about a hot button topic today. Suicide Squad versus Star Wars. Basically, what that means is we're going to be putting up some matchups in front of you. We'll have some graphics that you can take a look at to visualize what this fight will look like. Logan, are you excited for this? I know we watched Suicide Squad last week.
Yes, I am excited for this. I'm excited for the matchup. Am I excited for Suicide Squad in general? Probably not.
Yeah, not really.
Not as a movie, not as a film.
Yeah, we watched The Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad. This newest one is way better than the first one, but it's not so much better that it totally beat out everything ever made.
Right.
You want to give people like a 10-word review of the new Suicide Squad?
I don't even know about a 10-word, but like I feel like it's hard to base it off the first one because the first one was clearly so bad.
So bad.
It's like if you have garbage and then you have you know what I mean? And then you're like, well, there's a bigger pile of garbage that came out 4 years ago.
Yes.
It's still garbage.
Right.
You still have two piles of garbage.
That's pretty good. That was not 10 words, but
No.
That was a pretty good review.
No, way more than 10 words.
One way or another. If you want to help support this show and all the other stuff we do, stay tuned to the end of the episode where we'll tell you about our Patreon and everything else in between. But should we move on to our first matchup here? What is the first matchup, Logan?
It is Polka Dot Man versus Mother Talzin.
Yes, Polka Dot Man versus Mother Talzin. We're not going to get into spoiler territory when it comes to this, but
Right.
for people who have seen the movie, they might be able to understand why we put Polka Dot Man versus a mother. So it's going to be an interesting battle one way or another. Logan, tell us about Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, Polka Dot Man's kind of fun. So a little background on him.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, just kind of, slightly. Right. So shortly after Batman began appearing in Gotham City, his growing renown inspired an entire generation of costumed rogues who committed largely harmless crimes to attract his attention in the hopes of matching wits with the legendary vigilante. Among these was a local crook named Abner Krill, who decided, for reasons unknown, to launch a crime wave based on spots and dots in Gotham City, where he inevitably came into conflict with Batman and Robin. As Mr. Polka Dot, he wore a costume covered in spots, which being different sizes and colors were not actual polka dots. They really wanted you to know that. Once removed from the costume, the spots could be used for a variety of purposes, such as creating deadly weapons and bizarre escape vehicles.
Escape vehicles?
Yes, they could be used. We have a list of
his powers and abilities.
Well, yes, we have that, but we also have a list of what his dots do. Now, this is different. Like in the movie, I'm giving a lot of exposition on Polka Dot Man and his origins. Obviously, they did change it if you watch the movie, where his polka dots don't turn into different things. They're just like laser things. I don't know.
Yeah, without getting too spoilery, they are basically like laser beams in one way or another.
Right.
And they're not. That's a good thing I will say about the newest Suicide Squad movie is it's not so over the top where they tried to make everything super cool.
No.
It was all very campy. So even though we're about to talk about some of these powers in a second here, that they were not this cool in the movie, and that's actually a good thing.
Right.
So yeah, some of the powers, I don't think we even should go into what they do, but he has a flying buzzsaw dot, a flying saucer dot, a sun dot, a bubble dot, a fist dot, and a hole dot.
A black hole dot.
It's a black hole dot?
That's what, yeah. The hole dot. Opened up to what would be a teleportation transport system was presumably developed. Wow. Okay. So he can transport through his dots. Again, not in the film that we watched. This is more of the origins of it. But I just thought this was very fun to put in here about Polka Dot Man, because up until the Suicide Squad came out, I had no idea who Polka Dot Man was. And I'm sure that's the same with a lot of people.
Me too. And, there's a lot of those types of old supervillains, especially back in the old days of comics, because people didn't necessarily understand what the heck a supervillain or a superhero was.
Right.
I think it was Marvel that has Stilts Man. And his whole thing was he was on stilts.
I would have never guessed.
Right. And that's why, like, some of these titles, like, they could have gone really south, like Batman and Spider-Man, you know, like those types of things that are just like, oh, it's so obvious of how perfect it went. But that's the thing, like Spider-Man could have been like just a person who was obsessed with spiders, and now he's part spider, part man. And what he does is he you know, webs up traffic stops and nobody can drive through it.
Right.
But Polka Dot Man, he can make a black hole, apparently. They really had to punch up that idea.
Or a fist. He can make a fist dot.
So Mother Talzin, Logan, would you like to say a little bit about Mother Talzin?
A Dathomirian female who lived during the final decades of the Galactic Republic's reign and became a formidable figure of power during the Clone Wars. On her homeworld of Dathomir, Talzin lived as a shaman and the clan mother of the Night Sisters, a coven of force-sensitive witches who used magics to manipulate the wilderness around them and rule their male counterparts, the Night Brothers.
Yeah, so in this battle between these two, it would be pretty formidable because of the fact that both of them can kind of make magical, like energy beams and all that other stuff.
No hand-to-hand between them. It's all going to be controlling thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So Logan, we set this this rule in motion before we started that we have to agree. We have to come to an agreement on who will win these fights. We have 5, 6 battles.
Yep.
So we have to come to an agreement. So right off the rip, who do you think would win this?
I do think Mother Townsend.
Mother Tyler Townsend Bucks would win. Well, here's the bad thing. I happen to agree too, but why do you think that Mother Townsend would win against Polka Dot Man?
So when I was thinking about this, the up and coming, I thought Polka Dot Man was going to take the cake every time. I thought he was going to win. The only thing last minute, which I have still pulled up and I can not throw up on the screen, but I can show you, Ty, is this. Polka Dot Man, as far as we've seen, I've only ever seen him use his polka dots as offense. Whereas Mother Townsend, I am going to keep calling her Mother Townsend because I think it's hilarious. Fine. She can use her magic to deflect and absorb. So I feel like that is the only thing that gives her an edge, where if he's shooting his polka dots, like they're essentially lasers, but right here she's blocking lasers too.
Well, and that's a great way to what he showed me was basically her making this force field bubble around her. But the thing about it too is that she can make hallucinations and all that type of stuff too. And I could see her really playing with the demented mind of Polka Dot Man. And he has kind of a feeble mind, and I think Mother Townsend could get on in there and win this thing all the way. So we got in the chat Bradley Mellish saying Mother Townsend would win, and we happen to agree. Let's move on to the next one. Logan, you want to give it a little bit of a fanfare?
Is that fanfare?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It is Bloodsport versus Fennec Shand. Bloodsport is kind of, if you saw the first Suicide Squad, has now stepped into the Will Smith role, which was Deadshot.
Yeah,
Deadshot. Yeah, so Bloodsport, no superhuman powers, but he is very much like a Punisher type, and the thing is, he is in possession of a device that enables him to teleport high-tech weaponry to him from a distant location at an instantaneous rate. And what it looked like in the new movie, what they kind of did with it, it almost looked like it was what am I going to say with this? It's like Iron Man, that's the word.
Exactly.
Iron Man, nanobot technology this time around, where his suit generated weapons.
Even his helmet.
Instead of them just appearing. Yeah. Kylo Ren with the lightsaber behind his back.
Right. No, I agree. I think it's just a lot of just strength. He's just got that brute strength about him, and he's kind of good with guns, and he has technology.
I wouldn't say kind of good with guns. I would say he is very good.
Oh no, he's an expert. He's an expert with guns. But that's what I mean, and that's kind of his background. Is he's big, he's strong, he's hard to take down. He's a great hand-to-hand combat fighter.
It almost sounded like you were about to start his Sunday morning cartoon theme song. He's big, he's strong, he's hard to take down.
He's coming for you, Bloodsport.
Yeah. And then it's just this very gruesome, like rated MA. So, and then we have him up against Fennec Shand. And Shand, as you know, is a highly skilled mercenary. And she has the guts of a robot.
Yes.
So she is unfazed. And why we thought this was a good combination is because two expert marksmen, I forget what the movie is. It's like a World War II movie. Maybe chat can let us know that there was like two snipers kind of holding off against each other. This would be a little bit more like action packed because they can both, they're very maneuverable, but that type of tense, like distance battle they could have shooting at each other is what I foresee this fight to be.
I think, and it could start off like that, but what's cool about them is they're both equal. I think it could start long and then they could get in shorter and shorter. And by the end, they could be hand to hand because they're both equipped for hand-to-hand combat as well. So that could be cool.
And yeah, Fennec Shand, if you didn't know, she is mainly in The Mandalorian, but we got to see her in The Bad Batch as well. By the way, check your podcasts on Tuesday because we are, after this, we're going to record our finale of The Bad Batch as a podcast only. So feel free to check it out then. And also, if I'm touching my face a lot, I feel like I have a rogue hair that's like right over my, am I good?
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you. Just in general or just here?
Just your nose.
Just my nose. That's not true. We both have big noses. So that's what I mean. This fight will probably go the distance and go for speed. But I do think they will
not be all alone
in their time of need.
No.
And I think that we'll get close to like fisticuffs.
Yes.
So what I think when it comes to who will win this, I think it's actually going to be Bloodsport, to be honest with you. What do you think?
I agree. And I partially, I think of Wrecker because, you know, Fennec taking down Wrecker, and we've saw in the Bad Batch of how hand-to-hand combat she is very skilled. I don't know. There's just something about Bloodsport. He just feels so gruesome.
Yes.
Like there would be no, like he wouldn't hold anything back. And I feel like Fennec isn't as evil, even though she's technically a mercenary or a bounty hunter. I just feel like enemy at the gate's nice.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up when you were done. Tyler Hansaker. Well, wait a second. Is this like a melding of us too? Tyler
Hansaker.
That's very strange. I don't know who the heck that is. And then we also have Broken Streetlight saying these dudes rock. I hope they're talking about us. We do rock. But you're saying with Bloodsport possibly winning. I agree.
He's just, I don't know. I feel like he's ruthless.
I agree. And I think Bloodsport actually changes his clothes a little bit more.
That's true.
We even saw it in the Suicide Squad, and we know Fennec is just sitting in that same outfit for 30 some years.
Yeah, one outfit.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Logan, give this a little bit of a intro as well.
So the next one is Harley Quinn escaping the Death Star.
Now, for people that might not have seen the latest Suicide Squad, this might be a little bit confusing as to why we're having her escape the Death Star. Well, there is a very cool scene and sequence of Harley Quinn in this new one. If I would say something old hosts of the show, Johnny Trowbridge and Mike Calhoun, used to talk about with movies, which is the $12 scene. Basically, what scene in the movie would you have paid $12 just to see in the theater anyway?
Right.
Harley Quinn's scene that I'm just alluding to in the new Suicide Squad, I might have paid $12 to just see that whole sequence with Harley. So
the effects, yeah.
When we were talking about it, it was like, what if she just escapes the Death Star? Like in the holding cells deep in the bowels of the Death Star, has to get her way all the way out onto like an escape craft.
And I think she would be incredible.
I think she would absolutely slay it. Yeah, honestly.
I think you could even add like another, I don't know if this would make it harder or easier for her, but I was even picturing like a crashing Death Star. You know what I mean? Like it's a time limit now or something like that. And she's got to get off. You know what I mean? Something like that. I still think she could do it though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the thing about it is a crashing Death Star. I have never thought of that or heard of, you know what I mean? Like seriously, I've never thought of that or heard people say, yeah, wouldn't it be a cool scene for like the Death Star to be crashing?
I think it would be incredible.
I do too. Now that you mentioned it, now that's all I can think about.
Right. We can't even continue with the show because I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about crashing Death Star.
But let's put this into perspective. The Death Star has like hundreds of thousands of people on it. But the thing about it is, as we saw in that scene with Harley, not everybody is like prepared or ready to fight somebody.
Right.
And she could be going through like the accountant's room and trying to get out of there. But also, it doesn't really matter in the Death Star how deep you are into it, because if you just take an elevator, it can take you really anywhere. It seems those elevators have to be so like well put together, because the thing is so large and orbish that you would have to be able to be like Willy Wonka's elevator,
up and out,
up all over the place.
Right. Also, Harley Quinn, before becoming Harley Quinn, was a trained gymnast. So that I feel like is going to give her 100% an edge on escaping and jumping and twisting and turning and fitting through small spaces. So yeah.
Now Bradley in the chat put out is Darth Vader on the Death Star? You know, even if Darth Vader is on the Death Star, that lance, spoiler, might be able to block lightsabers. You know what I mean? If it has some type of godly, like, imbued power to it, it might be able to block lightsabers. So who knows? And
here too, if we were saying one-on-one Harley Quinn versus Darth Vader, completely different story. Yes. But if she ran into Darth Vader, I think she could still escape from Darth Vader.
Yes.
I don't think she could go through him and take him down, but I think she could do enough to get away.
We got Trevor in the chat saying Harley Quinn would destroy the Death Star. Honestly, that is a possibility that Harley could cause.
She would make it crash.
Yes, exactly. All right, you ready to move on to, like, this might be the most furious battle that we're going to be talking about today. It's the Weasel versus Chewbacca. Let's take a look at that. I mean, what is that thing? Is that like a dog?
Is that thing like a dog?
Is this thing a dog or something? Whatever. And I'm talking, of course, about Chewbacca. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm saying, is Chewbacca a dog? The Weasel. Now, this was maybe my favorite part of the new Suicide Squad, was the whole Weasel thing.
Yeah.
The Weasel was an anthropomorphic weasel. He can move at great speeds. He's very flexible and has very fluid motions, and he can react quickly. Did you write this, or was this written by a professional somewhere?
I did not write this.
Okay, because whoever wrote this needs to like look at a thesaurus or something. Like,
I wish I wrote this.
He can move at great speeds. He is flexible with fluid motions, and he can react quickly. It sounds like a Pokedex entrant.
It's the fluid motions that gets me.
The Weasel. He has very fluid motions and can react quickly. He also has heightened senses of smell and hearing, as well as sharp claws, teeth, and can slice through human flesh or bite enemies to distract, injure, or kill them, respectively.
Now I feel like they're just describing a dog.
This thing definitely is a dog. Look at that. Oh, hey.
Yo, is this thing a dog?
It's like part pug with the eyes bulging out. And then, of course, Chewbacca is Chewbacca. He's a Wookiee. He can rip people's arms off. I'm saying Chewbacca all the way on this one. I'm sorry to cut to the chase, but I'm saying Chewbacca could handle this.
I'm saying Chewbacca as well. I hate that we're like agreeing on this. I wish
we'll blow up on each other later.
I do think it's Chewbacca, and not because of the brute strength or anything like that, because Chewbacca has strength, but he also has brains. Doing a little, it's true. Like doing a little bit of research about him, like there's even stuff that says like he could. Again, you have to check your source, and you don't know how true this is, but like he could pilot the Millennium Falcon, and with his reactions could be a little quicker than Han sometimes, but wouldn't let him know to hurt his ego. No, seriously, like there is that deep type of stuff. I mean, Chewie can do repairs. Chewie can work on robots. I don't think the Weasel has any real like IQ.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was in the trailer, so I can't even spoil this, but we see him just licking a window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the Weasel for you.
Right.
So yeah, I would say Chewbacca would win this all the way, but let's just take a look at this graphic one more time.
Look at that Weasel.
Look at that Weasel. I mean, can you get any different? Logan,
a werewolf?
Is that thing? I don't mess with werewolves. Logan, let's move on to the next one. It is Djarin versus the Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
So tell us about the Peacemaker, and let's try not to talk about John Cena too much.
Okay, Peacemaker. Is visibly very strong for a human, and
He's
that's
visible.
True. But he's also visibly strong. Look at those muscles. Look at that tight shirt.
Oh,
he's huge.
there
He's
he is.
hulking with muscles on his muscles. He's able to throw fully grown men into walls,
as well as lift up the Big Show. And then, of course, Djarin is the Mandalorian, and we've seen him take on a lot of abuse.
Yes.
Djarin, and if anything that we learned from Peacemaker in this is the fact that you kind of have to take a lot of abuse if you're going to fight the Peacemaker.
Yes. Yeah. I think you are going to take a lot of abuse. And also they're both like that. Peacemaker, expert marksman. Djarin, expert marksman.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be another, almost like a Fennec, where I don't think their guns are going to have anything to do. I think it is going to come down to a hand-to-hand.
Yeah.
But he's got the armor. He's got the Beskar.
Exactly.
And I almost just want to say John Cena. Peacemaker doesn't. I mean, he's got a helmet, so they both have helmets. I don't know. He's pretty exposed.
If I have to take a knee-jerk reaction, it's going to be Djarin.
I think
to be honest, the Mandalorian. We've seen him take on a whole horde of people. We've seen him basically lose to people, but even still come back. And yeah, I think the Peacemaker, it'll be a crazy fight.
Yeah.
And I would say Djarin would definitely lose his helmet at some point.
Right.
But I do think that he would come out on top.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian would. What did some of the people in the chat, though, think about this? Because this is one that, especially, that I feel a little bit like,
it's hard.
It's hard. So if you guys can weigh in the chat before we move on to our final matchup, that would be the best. We got Melish saying Djarin wins. Looking at the skills, he wins. Peacemaker was almost beaten by, not going to bring up that. That spoiler. Trevor, great. Always on point. Where's the Peacemaker? I can't see him. Exactly. And you guys can't see us.
You can't see us, but
we are going to. There we go. And can we just say who else is excited to see John Cena versus Roman Reigns coming up?
Yes.
So that'll be cool. Let's see. We got more people. Yeah, Mando wins.
The only thing that's making me second guess it a bit is how determined Peacemaker is. He's got that will. Well,
so did Din, in a way, because he had such willpower to never take off his helmet.
Well, I think Din's willpower came from protecting Grogu.
Okay, so let's put this scenario.
Grogu's there.
Grogu somehow has dirt on the U.S.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Peacemaker needs to kill the baby no matter what.
Okay, Din.
Yeah, Din's going to win.
Yeah, Mando wins all day.
Mando wins all day. And now we have our final one. And this will be a little bit of a story we have to tell you. It is Starro the Conqueror versus Karina the Great. Is that how you spell Conqueror? Conquero.
No.
Starro
I
the
like
Conquero. Is that the Spanish for conqueror?
Conquero.
Because I copied and pasted that. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's do this. Let's pull an audible here.
Conquere. I like Conquero. Just Starro.
Just Starro.
Just Starro.
It's just Starro. So when it comes to this battle, we're kind of doing a little bit of a story, like I said, because Starro is able to take control over people basically by shooting starfish onto their faces.
Yep.
And then we also have the queen of the hive for Geonosis, and she was the one who put those brain worms we talked about last week out that could control people's minds. So what we're trying to do is we have Starro on one side of like a city, and we have the queen on the other side. And they are using these different mind control things to take over people and battle each other.
Right.
So now it's just kind of down to what is a better brain control? Is it the Starro mask or is it the brain worm?
Oh, there's a couple other factors that came to mind too. When I was researching Karina the Great, I don't know how true this is 100% of the time, but it said she usually stays underground.
Oh.
So Starro, now in our scenario, if they're both above ground facing off, obviously that changes things, but Starro was out and about while also controlling people, but could take hits, where I feel like Karina the Great could control them while being hidden.
In hiding, yeah.
But to make it fair, pulling them both on the surface, that's tough because
for me, when it comes to the movie and just what we saw in terms of that, the way these stars could travel
so quick.
But the thing about the brain worms, though, it seems like they could take a lot more punishment. The people that were being controlled by the brain worms, I feel like they could even get killed basically and still get back up and keep moving.
Right. How quickly do the brain worms take to activate too? Because the stars were instant. Yeah. You know, the little baby stars shoot out of the fish of Starro.
Yeah, there you go.
And they attach right to the face. Very alien style.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say. Just knee-jerk reaction. It would be Starro. But I would still like to see this almost as like a I guess it's kind of like a Magic the Gathering thing, but in that way of like you have two people either sides of the board and then they implement all these different things into this battle against each other.
Right.
And that's one of the things Geonosians, the normal ones could fly.
Yeah.
So some of those could be airborne flying towards Starro.
Also, I feel like it comes down to which people you're controlling too.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Let's say there's different stashes of like really powerful characters from the movies and you have to work their way to them.
Right.
This is a whole game that we're putting out there right now.
This one is probably the toughest one.
This is like an over the head game that you can control. And you like take over bases as you work your way over to kill the other team.
Yeah, you have to take over the most important, strongest characters to control them before the other person does.
Exactly.
That is very Magic the Gathering.
Right, isn't it? I'm not sure when it comes to this one. I'm going with Starro, but what do you think, Logan? We have to agree.
We do have to agree. Part of me, I feel like I've seen Starro personally in action from the film more than I've seen Karina the Great in action. Yeah. I've seen her controlling and what that happened, but even through that, honestly, I don't know, it wasn't super detrimental, and she wasn't taking over whole masses and like cities of people.
Yeah.
Again, not getting into spoiler territory with Starro, but
yeah. Well, let's take a quick look just to cement our decision. We have Melish saying Starro wins, as well as Broken Streetlights saying Starro. So we're going to go with Starro winning that one as well. So let's take a quick look overall. And did we miss any being matchups? Let us know in the comments. So comment in right now or comment on the replay of this and let us know of any other cool matchups that could have happened. But we had Polka Dot Man versus Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin won. Bloodsport versus Fennec. Bloodsport won. Harley Quinn escaping the Death Star. Harley could get the heck out of there and crash it into a planet. The Weasel versus Chewbacca. We had Chewbacca winning. Djarin versus the Peacemaker. Thank you so much. We had Djarin, the Mandalorian, win. And then Starro versus Karina. We had Starro winning.
Sure.
Did it tie? I think we tied. Star Wars versus Suicide Squad. I'm pretty sure that's what just happened.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, everybody wins, I guess.
Everybody wins.
And you guys are also a winner for being here and having a great time with us. And if you want to continue to do that and help us continue to do this show, you should check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Chatter Squadron. What do they get there, Logan?
Rise the ranks. You get show notes, Discord. Oh, I had my whole spiel. Show notes, Discord, post-show. Shout outs, and we want to give a shout out to our Commodore level patrons. So shout out to Commodore Marroquin, Commodore Rayside, Commodore Benti,
and Commodore Melish. And then here we go. We got Trevor saying King Shark equals ratings. Yes, give us that in the comments. Who do you want to see King Shark face in the Star Wars universe? Anything else we would like to leave people with other than that visual of King Shark taking on someone?
I think I want to picture King Shark taking on Palpatine.
Oh my gosh. Well, he's
no force allowed to be used.
Oh,
he just laughs.
Well, okay.
It's just a shark man versus an old man at that point.
Yeah. I think we know who wins this one, but you guys tell us in the comments who would win.
Oh.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you again next week. Goodbye, y'all.